A valid marriage contract has certain primary and secondary legal effects. The primary legal effect is the permissibility of intercourse. This is stated as follows. A valid contract grants the permissibility of intercourse, except in the state of menstruation, postnatal bleeding, and the existence of zihar prior to expiation. First, the husband has a right to demand intercourse from his wife whenever he likes, except in the prohibited states mentioned. However, he cannot force her into submission. Second, the wife too has a right to demand sexual intercourse from her husband whenever she likes, except in the prohibited states mentioned. However, she cannot coerce him to do so, where conjugal relations are disrupted. The state law in Pakistan grants the husband the right to file a suit for the restitution of conjugal rights, but it does not grant such a right to the wife. The Sharia does grant such a right, and the right must be acknowledged by state law. The Sharia grants a number of defenses to the wife for refusing to cohabit with the husband or for restricting physical access to her. The defenses include non-payment of dower, false accusation of unlawful sexual intercourse that is subject to li'an, and any other cause that may arise out of the rights given to the wife. Among other legal effects, we may mention the following. First, the husband has exclusive physical rights over his wife as long as she is alive and is married to him. But the wife does not have such an exclusive right. This primarily means that the woman cannot have more than one husband while she is married to one husband, because of which the husband has exclusive rights over her. This privilege is not available to the wife, because she has to share him when he has more than one wife. The husband has the right to look at his wife and touch her as he likes as long as she is alive. This right ceases with her death according to the Hanafi school, because their contract has now come to an end. Thus, the contract of marriage does not extend the right of cohabitation and physical access beyond what is lawfully provided by the Sharia. Second, the husband has the right to prevent the wife from leaving the house without his permission. He cannot do so, however, if he has not paid her the prompt dower, nor can he prevent her from going for the Hajj pilgrimage. Third, a valid contract gives rise to the right to claim paternity of children born during wedlock. Paternity is the legal effect of cohabitation in reality, but the external cause of marriage has been substituted for it because cohabitation is something private. Paternity will be presumed, even when there is physical separation between husband and wife, unless it is denied through the procedure of li'an by the husband and is not denied by the wife during such procedure. Fourth, a valid contract gives rise to the duty of maintaining the wife and her children. The husband is under a duty to maintain his wife and her children from him according to his ability. The details of maintenance will be taken up in another video. Fifth, a valid contract gives rise to the prohibition of marrying certain females related to the wife. These are women prohibited on account of a marriage relationship or affinity, and they fall into two groups. First are wife's mother and wife's grandmothers, whether maternal or paternal, how high soever. And second come the wife's daughters and their daughters, and her son's daughters and their daughters how low soever, when the marriage with his wife stands consummated. Sixth, a valid contract of marriage gives rise to the right of inheritance by each spouse from the other spouse upon his or her death, as the case may be. This applies if death occurs during the subsistence of the state of wedlock, where divorce has not become effective before that. Seventh, if a man has more than one wife, he is under an obligation to treat them equally with respect to his time, expenses, clothing, and residence. Equality is to be maintained even if one wife was a virgin prior to marriage to such person or was a widow or divorcee. Equality is also to be maintained even if one wife is young and the other old. Maintaining such equality does not apply to the person who is traveling and wishes to take one wife along, but it is recommended that he draw lots for this purpose. Eighth, a duty is imposed on the wife to be obedient to the husband for all reasonable and lawful demands. If the wife is rebellious, then the husband has a right to discipline her through kindness, persuasion, and reprimand, that is, in that order. He is to use light physical punishment as a last resort when he suspects that she is inclined to have extramarital relations. Ninth, it is recommended that the husband treat his wife with fairness, with respect and according to what is customarily good or ma'ruf. The sanctity of the contract is to be maintained and not violated. 10th, it is disapproved for the husband to evade conception of the child without the permission of the wife. That is, he is not to avoid conception of a child during coitus. Unless the wife consents to such avoidance of conception, there is no harm in doing so if the wife agrees.